The TGAs this year did not have as many leaks as previous years, though there were a bunch of rumors about surprises, and I've gotta give it to Joff. It had a bunch of peaks and valleys, but the peaks were indeed very surprising. So let's recap the games shown. As usual, I'll stick to what caught my attention or what I think was important. The pre-show started the train of surprises with the review of a new Ninja Gaiden game, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, published by Dotemu and developed by the Game Kitchen, the same developers behind Blasphemous, so I have decent expectations for it. Slay the Spire 2 was also a surprise. I never really got into it since I'm not usually into roguelike deck builders, but I'm happy for everyone else. Thick as Thieves seems interesting. It reminded me a lot of Dishonored, but with multiplayer and cartoonish visuals. I'll keep an eye on it, but it is slated for release in 2026. Shadow Labyrinth has the novel idea of having a dark, twisted version of Pac-Man in it, but it needs more than that if it really wants to be a success. The Sifu devs also surprised everyone by revealing that their next game, Rematch, is a football game with very flashy visuals, and gameplay with influences of Rocket League. I haven't touched a football game in more than a decade because they all just blend together in my head. I don't know if I'll ever play it, but at least they did something to differentiate themselves. Even if I think most people were disappointed that their next game is a sports game rather than another action game. The main show opened with a trailer for Witcher 4, and it revealed that the protagonist of the new game will be Ciri. It was fine as a review trailer since The Witcher is a known quantity in gaming. The trailer only had to sell Ciri as the new protagonist, and it accomplished that. Elden Ring Night Rain was also a surprise. It is a spin-off of Elden Ring with focus on the co-op. Although the trailer didn't do a good job of informing it was a spin-off. Some people were confused thinking it was a DLC. Square Enix announced that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is launching on PC on January 23 of next year. Fumito Ueda is keeping his obsession with small boys in large environments with the announcement of Project Robot. There was not much to take from the game besides the kid riding the head of a giant robot in a huge disaster, but given Ueda's record, I still expect a good game. The Outer Worlds 2 revealed its first gameplay, and I was happy with what I saw. I really enjoyed the first game, but I agreed that the game was lacking in weapon variety, so the trailer focusing on all the different weapons was a good idea. Joseph Fares came out with his usual energy to show his new game, Split Fiction, and I think this was probably the most underwhelming review from Hazelight. The studio has carved a niche for co-op, but Split Fiction didn't really do much to differentiate itself, with players being in the same environment all the time, and the setting also not being as interesting as It Takes Two. The impression got even worse when later in the show Stage Fright got revealed, and made a more interesting case for split-screen co-op by having a different environment in each screen. Borderlands 4 also showed its first gameplay, and it looks just like more Borderlands, which is just what fans want. Tekken 8 revealed that Clive from FF16 is going to be a guest character. It was a bit of a surprise because there were rumors of a Final Fantasy character getting into Tekken 8, but everyone was expecting an FF7 character. The new Virtua Fighter finally got announced. Sega had been teasing it for the last year, and we finally got a first look. It also revealed that RGG Studio is the one behind it, with a broadcast going up right after the show. There was not a lot of details for the new Virtua Fighter in the broadcast though. RGG Studio kept the ball rolling by revealing Project Century, a new game that seems to be like a dragon set during the year 1915. It is aiming to have real-time combat like Judgment and Like a Dragon Gaiden. The next surprise of the night was the review of a new Turok. Turok Origins will have players on co-op or single player, and the game will have a mechanic of absorbing enemies' powers. I'm not sure if Turok fans wanted this, but at least the franchise is alive. Helldivers 2 got a new faction in the Omens of Tyranny update, which turned out to be just zombies. Palworld also announced a new expansion, Fabric. It launches this month. Capcom announced a new Onimusha, but also gave a bit of a cold shower by revealing that Onimusha with the Sword is slated for 2026. I don't see Onimusha fans complaining though. Sega unveils Sonic Racing Crossroads. I hope it feels more like Racing Transformed than Team Racing. The second really didn't feel as good as the first. Mafia: The Old Country had a small leak early in the day, but it didn't spoil much. The game only got the 2025 release year, so Mafia fans will probably have to wait until the second half of the year to play it. Capcom had another surprise for players. It announced a new Okami game, with the reveal that Kamiya is back on board for it under a new studio called Clovers, a nod to the old Capcom studio. I'm excited for this, even if I think Kamiya can sometimes be stubborn with certain mechanics in his games. The show ender was Naughty Dog's next game, Intergalactic, directed by Neil Druckmann. It was a cinematic trailer focused on the characters and story, but we did get a small melee combat scene against some sort of robot. I'm still not sold on it, but coming from Naughty Dog, it will definitely be a polished game when it releases. This was my recap and thoughts over the games shown in this year's TGA. If you want to add something to what I said, leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you around.